Okay, so let's talk about AI coding assistants. I mean, they feel like actual magic, right? You type a simple prompt and boom, code just appears. It's incredible. But what happens when that magic runs headfirst into the messy, complicated reality of a production-grade application? We're going to dig into why that initial excitement can fade really fast and explore a new way of thinking that's required to actually win in this new AI era.
This quote from Chengiz Khan just absolutely nails it. Vibes got you here, vibes won't get you to production. It's so true. That awesome vibe you get from a cool AI demo is one thing, but that feeling just smashes into a brick wall when it's time to ship real, maintainable software. There's this massive gap between a cool proof of concept and the reality of production.
And look, don't get me wrong, tools like GitHub Copilot and Cursor are game changers. I mean, they're being adopted absolutely everywhere, and for good reason. They promise to dramatically speed up development, handle all that boilerplate code, and suggest solutions. They are fundamentally changing how developers work day in and day out.
But here is the giant but. AI is an amplifier. It takes what you give it and makes more of it faster. So if your codebase, your architecture, and your processes are already kind of chaotic, well, AI isn't going to magically clean it up for you. It's just going to help you produce that same chaos at a speed you've never seen before. So where does all this chaos come from? Well, the problem isn't really the AI model itself. The real problem is what it can't see. You see, these tools are operating with a massive context blind spot. They literally can't grasp the entire system they're trying to help you build. Think about it like this. For an AI agent to be truly effective, it needs two tools, a microscope and a telescope. It needs that microscope to see all the tiny, fine-grained details of the code it's writing, but it desperately needs the telescope to see the big picture, the macro-level architecture of the entire system. The problem is, today, most agents are basically handed a microscope and then asked to navigate a galaxy they can't even see. They're just flying blind. Now, engineering teams are obviously incredibly smart. They see this context problem, and they've started creating their own solutions. But, these are often just manual patchwork fixes, all designed to try and give their AI agents the context they so desperately need. One of the most common hacks you'll see is a file called agents.md. The idea seems simple enough. Just write down a bunch of instructions and context in a markdown file to help guide the AI. It's supposed to be this configuration layer that tells the agent about your project's architecture, your coding styles, and the whole shebang. But here's the fatal flaw. As more and more developers keep adding their own rules, and as the project itself changes, that agents.md file just becomes this bloated, confusing, and worst of all, outdated mess. It ends up wasting super expensive tokens on every single request. And even worse, that stale information can actually poison the AI's context, leading it to make very confident, but very wrong, decisions.
And this problem just completely explodes in modern multi-repository setups. To give an agent full context, teams are getting forced into this kind of multi-step nightmare, creating coordination repos, writing complex scripts, all of this manual effort just to simulate a single view of the system. And it's a view that's brittle and constantly breaking.
So, okay, if stuffing more text into these manual files is the nightmare, then what's the dream? Well, it's going to require a complete paradigm shift. Instead of just feeding agents more and more text and hoping they'll figure it out, we need to give them a perfect living map of the entire system. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. The old way is all about AI agents guessing based on text files and you finding out something is broken at 5 p.m. on a Friday. We've all been there. The new way, the FastBuilder way, is about agents that can actually see the universal topology of the system through something called the golden mesh, a live, mathematical digital twin of your software. So what is this golden mesh? Let's be clear, it is not just another documentation file. It's a mathematical, verifiable map of your entire code base. It understands every single component, every function, every data flow, every event. It creates a living digital twin of your system that is, by definition, always accurate. And this incredibly powerful concept is brought to life by FastBuilder.AI. It's designed from the ground up to be the intelligence layer that finally closes that context gap, and crucially, it does it without forcing you to completely change your entire workflow. Now, take a look at this diagram, because this is really the key to understanding the whole approach. FastBuilder.AI is not another coding agent that competes with Copilot or Cursor. Think of it as the orchestrator. It's the coordinator, the planner, and the supervisor that gives your existing agents the full architectural context they've been missing. And, here's maybe the best part for development teams. You don't have to go learn some massive new system.
FastBuilder.AI is just a simple, lightweight plugin for your IDE. You keep using the environment you already know and love, but now your existing agents are connected to this powerful architectural backend. Your workflow doesn't change, but suddenly your agents have superpowers. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it gives your agents 4 new superpowers. It gives them sight, so they can see the complete system topology. It gives them sense, so they can intuitively feel when a code change violates the architecture. It gives them insight, so they instantly know the ripple effects of any change. And finally, it gives them direction, so they're always guided down the correct, certified path for any new feature. At the end of the day, all of this leads to one huge thing: building with confidence. And this isn't just about making developers' lives a little easier. This is about fundamentally changing how we build software. When development becomes predictable and stable, think about what that does for your product and support teams. It empowers them to deliver innovation to customers with a new level of confidence and speed.
And here it is. This is the single most powerful outcome of this whole approach: a 0% hallucination rate on anything that can be topologically verified. Just let that sink in for a second. We are moving from the probabilistic world of the AI guessing what API to call to a deterministic world of knowing.
The principle here is so simple, but so profound. The system validates any proposed change against that living architectural model before a single line of code even gets written. If a change would violate the architecture, it's just blocked. It's stopped before it can ever become a problem. Period.
This approach delivers 3 massive wins for any organization. First, you ship with confidence. Every single deployment is mathematically verified, which means your product roadmaps become way more reliable. Second, you stop wasting time trying to remember how everything works. All that tribal knowledge becomes a living, queryable reality. And third, you save a fortune on LLM costs by shifting that heavy architectural context locally instead of feeding it to the cloud with every single request. Which brings us right back to the final question that I think we should all be asking ourselves. As we integrate AI deeper and deeper into our workflows, are we actually using it to build real, sustainable value? Or are we just accelerating down a path to faster, more expensive chaos? The choice really comes down to having the right structure.